So we have brand new information about the VGC circuit structure and, in fact, the Play Pokemon circuit structure for this upcoming year, and it is totally different. And I've got people from a lot of different perspectives. So for context, we have among other things, we have a brand new way of deciding who qualifies for Worlds. It's only going to be the top 75 players in North America and I believe in EU who qualify for the World Championships in VG. And we've got a couple people who have qualified in a similar system in Juedy, who did it back in 2014, I believe, and John, who not only did it in 2014 but also did it in Japan. So I'm really excited to hear.
What did I do?
You qualified for Worlds in Japan as top 64.
Oh, this year you mean?
Yeah, this year. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about 2014. I was like, dude, I did not live in 2014.
So we got a couple people who have actually done this before, and then we've also got conveniently. Actually, I don't think I have it pulled up anymore. The 75th best player in North America in Nails right here. So we're gonna get his perspective as well. It should be a good time. So
system is perfect. No notes. I made it in. Everyone else, better luck next year.
All right. So I'm gonna start going through these things one at a time as they are updated on the Play Pokemon page, and then we can talk about them. And don't worry, I've actually got a whole notepad filled with rants ready, so we're good to go. All right. So the World Championship update, among other things. So the main change is that one is that the number of invites is now capped. So this is for TCG. For VG, there are 75 Masters in North America, 75 Masters in Europe, 50 in Latin America, 20 in Oceania. This is not including players who win a regional or a special event. It seems like that the special event champions in LATAM will also get their invite. They had excluded them last year. And then also the top 4 finishers of each Internets will also automatically earn an invite, and those will not count against the total invitation slots. It is unclear if those players will just be taken out from the rankings, or if they are just going to be included in the rankings. But if they are not in top 75, they will still get a world invite. So
those are probably going to be extra.
I think they get taken. I feel like they get taken out, but I could be wrong.
They get taken out, but they probably still count for like travel rewards and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like is gonna happen.
Yeah, okay. And so the main reason I think for this is that the number of people who have gotten a Worlds invite has really exploded with the popularity of the circuit, right? We've seen way more people get Worlds invites. It was over 200 this year. And
just from North America.
Just from North America, excuse me. Yeah, I'm mostly thinking about it in North America. And so it's going to be, I think this is a way for them to have a little more consistency, know how many people are going to get Worlds invites. But it is okay. So I'm gonna get your reactions first. What do you guys think about the 75 player bar?
So Pokemon's goal has always been to just have Worlds be the pinnacle and have it be a predictable event. They want to know how many people to make it, and my guess is they just completely blew their expectations out about how many people would qualify. Just the numbers that they had heading into the year did not expect 200 Americans, 200 Europeans to get their invites. Japan had 64 players, and I don't think it was intentional to have 8 times as many or 7 times or whatever as many players from Europe and North America as Japanese players. So this is just they're trying to get Worlds into a predictable spot. The fallout from our perspective is the season gets a lot more stressful. If you're right on the bar, you're going to be incentivized to root against people who might be your friends, and that stuff always sucks. It can get rather nefarious depending on how sweaty people are taking it. We've seen some serious sweat in the past over travel awards, and similar stuff might happen, although there's going to be a bigger pool of players trying to like stumble over the finish line and sneak in, and so it'll just be. I guess the last few rounds of internets of an AIC are going to be really, really pressure filled.
Love that
Um,
for us.
even for
Yeah.
players who aren't in the tournament anymore.
Yeah, pretty much. So like, yeah, basically piggybacking off of that, it's just like, yeah, you guys have like a couple hundred, and Japan only has like 64, and Japan never puts out their doc, or TPC never puts out like their qualification until the next year. Like you usually don't get this information until January for their circuit. I probably am expecting similar to this year in terms of like number of invites from Japan. 64 was like pretty reasonable, I feel like. And on the TPCI side, I think they just saw the numbers explode over the last few years, and they were like, "Yeah, maybe that's too much," And so this might be their way of dialing it back, while maybe still allowing for like winners from regionals and like top eights. Wait, was it top fours or top eights? I need to look at the doc again. Top for internets to get an invite is like top four from regionals or top eight, top four. Top 4 and winner regionals, right? Okay. So it's like their way of saying that, like, we'll incentivize the winners and people who do really, really well at internets to continue to go, and then we'll give, like, the extra invites down, hopefully. Like, we don't actually know if that's gonna happen, but that's the hope anyway. And, yeah, like, I think it's being blown out a little bit of proportion because unless you are chasing Travel Award, I think you can reasonably get an invite by going to just one IC and then filling out the rest with decent to good regional results.
So
That's just
you
my
can. It's just gonna cut down on your margins. Um,
Yeah.
like if you skip an internet, then you're gonna have to like I think the numbers are top 32 at an internet is equal to a top 8 at a regional. So and in my opinion, those performances are pretty equivalent. But yeah, you just have to yeah, it's gonna just reduce your margin for error if you're not attending internets.
Well, I think this is dumb as hell. And such a step back. Why would they do this? Could they not have just given us a higher bar? No, because they would just be yellowing. Yeah, no, that's all I'm at right now. Is my first initial thought is this is just I'm tilted. Like I don't know. Like I'm not like it's I'm not even thinking about myself. I'm looking out for like number 75. I'm looking out for that one boy from Montana, not Mott, who's like has aspirations of making worlds, but is in Montana. I don't even know if you guys have a scene there.
They just gotta
And
pull a Semper and win a regional. It's that easy.
it's that easy. I do think that like yeah, you guys are right. They realize that worlds is way too big right now. But I feel like there were like better ways to go about it. Maybe like this is like the another test year where that used to be a meme. Every year was like a development year. Maybe it's another like they figure out how much points people are getting, what they can do, but like it never feels good to have to root against anybody. Like literally even on a small scale last year, I watched Colin lose their travel awards to Rogov, right? And they're like the closest of friends. So like it was like fine. It was like bittersweet. But imagine if Colin lost his travel awards to literally anyone else. And like that's just like he would have to have been rooting for their downfall at every single point. It's gonna be like super toxic at events.
Yeah,
Except this time it's just for your invite. It's not even for travel award anymore, right? So
Yeah.
that's the kind of like feeling that they're trying to. I guess they're not trying to, but this is the feeling that will inevitably happen. Like you're gonna have more of those situations.
yeah.
And that's definitely not healthy. But
There's another there's a few other annoying things that just like logistically that come about from this. So first off, most people will not know if they get their Worlds invite. At least most North Americans will not know if they get their Worlds invite until after NAIC. And so good luck booking your Worlds flights. Good luck like having a schedule ahead of time.
Yeah.
Right? Like who knows? They released some of the regionals and not all of them, and we'll talk about that soon. But if you don't know how many events you can go to, right? If you have to start scheduling your entire year out, knowing that you have to met that BFL of 6, it's really hard to do when you don't know all the regionals. So why don't they give us the whole schedule? That's a whole different rant that I can get to. But overall, like, here's the thing: there were too many Worlds invites. That's not me. I don't want to diminish anyone's accomplishments, because I've definitely I've grinded out for my Worlds invite and 4 years in a row now or whatever. But a Worlds invite nowadays is more the result of like a lot of effort than it is necessarily being especially good at Pokemon. And the better you are at Pokemon, the less effort you have to put in. But it's the same as like being jacked, right? It's like, okay, like if you go and you spend all the time that I spent playing Pokemon into going and working out, I'd be pretty fit. But it'd be results of me putting in a lot of effort, right? Similar to that. This is going to be both, right? Now all of a sudden, you not only have to put in a lot of effort, but you also probably have to be like pretty good at Pokemon to make it. We're not going to see 250 people trying to get a Worlds invite this year. But it does really like fundamentally change who is going to go for an invite now, right? And it's going to have a lot of impact on the regional attendance, on locals attendance, on the when people show up to events. And so like, I don't mind that Worlds is getting more exclusive. I don't think that it's a bad thing that it is harder to get a Worlds invite now. I think that a more exclusive Worlds is more prestigious. It means I think it'd feel better to qualify now. But I also think that it means that without other substantial changes, which we're going to get to, it means that players like me have less incentive to go to events. Players in general who are not going to super duper try hard are going to go to less events, are going to feel alienated from the circuit, and that is a bad thing. And there are other ways they could have changed that, even if they wanted to make a more exclusive Worlds. Yes, why 75? Why not 100 and 125? To answer that, I think that is just to put it in line with TBC, the Asian region, right? So Japan only gets 64 invites. I can't imagine that's going to change. Historically, I think most people see Japan, North America, and EU as sort of equals in terms of the player quality, in terms of how well they do historically at the World Championships. And so it does make sense to put the bar at 75 for US and EU at a pretty comparable number to Japan. And then the other thing it was really difficult historically is predicting the number of Worlds invites that were going to be given out, because you are trying to figure out like how many people are going to qualify based on attendance when it's so dynamic, when it changes so often. The truth is attendance is going to decrease, not just because of this, but because as a generation progresses, people get less and less excited about playing the old games. And so we've seen some really years with really, really big events and some years with really, really small events. And it is sort of cyclical in VGC. And so having to guess how big Worlds is going to be is really difficult. Setting a strict bar is a lot better, especially when on top of that, maybe you give out 400 Worlds invites in LATAM, but only 75, 80 of those players go. Now you know that all 50 of those players are probably going to go. They all tried really hard to get their Worlds invite. So that's another dynamic that was added to it. There's a lot of stuff that is going to change as a result of this. But yeah, like I said, I don't have a problem with a smaller Worlds. I don't like the cap. I think that everyone mentioned some really, really good points about why it is going to be, it's going to be really bad for players' mental health. It's going to be like really bad for the, for more casual players or less competitive players, or players maybe who don't do super well in their first couple of events, maybe stop going to events, stuff like that is going to impact it. But yeah, overall, like that's kind of my take. I don't hate that there's smaller Worlds, but I do dislike the way that they did it.
Yeah, I literally just like got a text message from a friend who was just like, I don't think I can make Worlds anymore. And one, I told them don't feel that way. Like fun, that's like the defeatist attitude I have. But it does suck to see like so many people who are like have Worlds aspirations, like that felt like they can do it going in from last year to now, and then like can't.
Not really achievable.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel achievable, I suppose.
Yeah.
That kind of like goes back to what I was thinking when Adi was starting his little rant there. But basically, it's like the scene has grown so much, and generally, I think, at least this is my opinion, I like to think of this game as pretty welcoming to new players, right? Like even this year and last year, you had a lot of like, first time competitors. You got like, Justin Tang and Sempra, and like a bunch of newer faces who just like really do well in like their recent years. But those kinds of players might not be so common in this system because of the way the system is. It just kind of
So
discourages them
I,
from
I
playing, right?
I think that the strongest outliers are probably still gonna be around. But yeah, it's just like a bell curve. Like if you like the distribution of talent, if you get more people into the system, just you're gonna have more positive outliers. And so yeah, I mean we're gonna miss out on some of those guys. But
Mm.
uh yeah, just it's
So I think that most people
God.
I've talked to Judge about this once. Most people only go to one event a year, right? Most of the people at your 700 person regional are only showing up to one event because it's close by, because they want to try it out, whatever. Because they watched a Wolf video and want to meet Wolf. I don't know. And so and then some of those people actually pop off and go to more events, right? We saw Justin Tang. I don't know what his plan was when he won Knoxville, but it only was because he did so well that he started to go to more events. That's okay, cool, right? Like even me, I went to my first event, I went 6-3, I was like, oh, or a 5-3, and I was like, I can do this, right? Like I'm okay at this game, and then I kept going to events, right? So I don't think this is going to impact people who are just showing up to their first event, but I do think that it is going to impact like the mid bros, right? That's where the real
The
impact
retention.
is. Yeah, exactly. Now fewer
The
people are
impact is
going to
in
say,
mid-pros, yeah.
I'm pretty good. Let me keep going. I think I can get a Worlds invite. Now all of a sudden that's maybe not as attainable a goal, especially if you don't start right at the beginning of the season. But yeah, we got a lot more to talk about, so I'm gonna keep it moving. So now we got a change in BFLs and championship points. I really like this table, but I'm also a huge nerd, so I'm gonna try to explain it. Because I thought I saw some questions about it in the chat.
Buckle up, everyone. Buckle up.
So,
Buckle
okay.
up.
So the first thing is, this is the BFL, the best finish limit. What that means is that, for those who don't know, it is going to take your top 4 results from challenges, cups, and then your top 3 global challenge placements. In other words, it is going to...
Oh God.
Yeah.
Here it goes.
This is Jody's first reaction. So that means that if you have, let's say, challenges, which are the equivalent of premier challenges, let's say you get a first and two top 4s and a top 8, or let's say you have a first and 2 top 4s, right? So you have 15 plus 10 plus 10, you have a total of 35 points. If you go to one more and you get top 8, you will get to 43 points, right? Because that'll be your 4th result. The 5th time you do well at a tournament, let's say at the fifth tournament you go to, you get top 4, right? It's going to overwrite your top 8 performance. And essentially, instead of 8 points, you're going to get 10 points for a net of +2. And so you're going to be up to 45, right? So it only takes your 4 best performances, and it will overwrite the ones that you had previously gone on. So that is how that works. Global challenges, of course, being the online tournaments. This was the first year, this past year, that we had a best finish limit of 3. In the past, it had been 2. So I do really like that they are increasing the importance of these. And then the payouts have also changed. So that means that now if you win a premier challenge or a league challenge, you will only get 15 points as compared to 30 in the past. This is the same number of points I believe you would get in the 2018 circuit year. I remember that. And then the championship points for league cups, which are equivalent of midseason showdowns, has not changed. I believe these are the same payouts as they used to be. And then
They look the same.
And then the payouts for the global challenges online have increased, but very little. They've only slightly increased. It used to be 160 for winning. Now it is 170. And then also, I believe that we saw somewhere, I think we're going to scroll to it, there might be more than 3 global challenges, is what it alluded to. There said there are going to be more of them. So look out for that as well.
So just to provide context to these numbers, the points for winning a cup or an MSS haven't changed numerically, but the payouts for internets and regionals are about 1.5 times bigger. So just locals have been flat nerfed by around a third, just compared to the amount of points that players are going to be racking up. As for the global challenges, winning a global challenge is worth less relative to your overall total than it was before. But I'm really happy to see the top 32 placements get major buffs to their payouts, because those placements are still very strong finishes, and so they're not that much worse than a first place finish. So great change on the global challenge payouts.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
think like, sorry, you go first.
oh, and also just the locals BFL is lower than it was before. Instead of 6 mid-season showdowns, you can only play 4 cups. So just locals are a way smaller slice of the pie than they were this year. They're still an important contributor. Like 260 points from capping your challenges and cups is the equivalent of like an internet's top 32, 64, something like that. But
Yeah, 64.
okay, but yes, they're they're very much nerfed.
Yeah, no, that's good. I think that like people are already like I avoided being like reactionary on Twitter. Lots of people are like, yo, it's a throw your wallet thing. But I think that like being able to get 260 points from locals and then also having more global challenges is a good thing. I think that like if this is going to be continuing, we should have more online qualifiers, especially like you said, they alluded to more, so it's like very good.
Oh, the other, the only thing on my wish list that I guess they didn't do here is I think that winning a global challenge should give you a world's invite. But that,
Yeah, I agree with that. But
like, just if you get first, here's your ticket. I mean, you don't get a literal ticket, but you get your entry to
you
the
get it like a
tournament.
free entry. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
I'll take it one step further. It shouldn't just be a first in Western world. It should be first anywhere in the world, so that a Japan player can win the global challenge and be like, "Yep, I'm going to Worlds."
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That would be so cool.
Because
Except
otherwise,
we already do that.
so looking at the payouts, like you said, it is now I look at it and I say, oh, you have like I'm gonna park. I'm parking as soon as I get into a range that I think is safe for top 32. I am parking because the prospect of gaining 50 points for winning a global challenge is not worth the prospect of losing 40 points for losing a couple games, right? So I'm
True,
getting and that is very similar to how Japanese players play it, where they get into range of I think top 64 gets a invite to nationals,
Yep.
and then they stop, right? And then so you always see the top 5, top 6 are Western players, and then there's a huge number of Japanese players between number 10 and number 75, and then it's back to being a bunch of Western players because for them it's all or nothing. There's no incentive to keep pushing.
Basically, Japan just aims for a threshold, and then we typically don't go further. And that happened like in our what is it called? Japan, it's our main event, I guess. Our main event, the ladder tour, where I think the highest ranked player was like only barely above 1600 because that's where everyone parked. Like we didn't go higher than 1600 because we just knew that was safe after looking at the ratings in the game.
And I think the cutoff was like 1588, something like that.
It was somewhere around there, yeah. So like once people got like an idea of where the cutoff was going to be, they just stopped. And that's just kind of like the same thing, the same mentality they're gonna have. I mean, honestly, Japan has no change, at least based off of what I'm seeing. Is 3 best limit. It's probably still gonna be the same system as this year. Although obviously, if you guys take like if the Western world takes this more seriously now, it just means there's less chance that Japan will like team kill. I guess is that the way to say it. Like if there's more players from the Western side playing in these GCs, then TPC players will not team kill as much. And of course, by the time the third one rolls around, the participation usually falls off. I want to say, so that might not hold up in the third one, but. Yeah, as far as locals go, I do want to say it reminds me of like 2015 era in the sense that locals are not highlighted as being super strong, but they can give you a little bit of like more marginal push, right? But in 2016, that kind of changed, where I think 2016 was the farming year, where you just went to locals and you farmed, and you basically got an invite that way. That's due to a lot of like imbalanced, bar and stuff like that. So I'm not going to speak too much about it, but
Just a
yeah, I
crazy
feel
low
like
bar that year.
yeah, I think it kind of reminds me of the time where it values performance at higher level events, but it doesn't necessarily say that locals are useless. That's what I want to say.
Yes.
Just to notify that I have hopped in the tub for tub takes for a couple of minutes with a single tub take before I have to go back to work.
Go for it.
All right, let's hear
And I
it.
tried to put my camera on, but instead showed you all my bathroom. So I do apologize for that. So my specific tub take is Swiss +1 fucking sucks. I don't know if we've gotten to that point in the conversation yet about whether we've discussed those.
Not at all. That's a ways off.
Okay.
I think
Well,
yeah, we're a couple
Swiss
thoughts away from
fucking
that.
sucks.
Have you-
And tag me when we get there.
Okay.
Sure, I'll give you a tag.
It is so bad.
Yep. No,
Can
I've got a
skip
whole thing
ahead?
planned out for that too.
Can I skip ahead for a minute because I might be in a meeting at that time when you get to it?
What is
Well,
Swiss
no,
+1?
I won't do
We
it
will
if I
get to it.
derail.
I'll give you a tag.
Don't worry about it, guys. Don't worry about it.
Don't
Okay.
worry. You can see where the bar is. We got a ways to scroll before we
Okay.
get to this page.
I will be in a meeting. Do you think you'll be there by 12:30? Because my meeting is from
surely.
11:30 to
Yeah.
12:30.
Yeah, we'll definitely get there around then.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
tag
We
me
gotta
at
get through a
12:30.
lot
Yeah,
of
I'll give you
shit.
a
We gotta
tag.
get through a lot of shit.
Shit sucks.
Okay. So we'll get back to that, but I have one more take about locals. First off, it is very good that locals are not going to be as important. It sucks, but at the same time, if you are around that 75 range, which I think again a lot of players are going to be, you are going to feel immense pressure to also finish your locals. Also, Jersey Fits, thank you for the subscription. You also can subscribe with Twitch
Thank you,
Prime,
Jersey Fits.
for free if you have Amazon Prime. Anyways, so I back in 2019, they had a different way of doing BFLs where it was like two per quarter, which was awful. And I remember I would go to Premier Challenge after Premier Challenge because you had to get these BFLs in a certain time period. And I got second over and over again. And I was going to these tournaments with the sole intent of winning these tournaments. And that is maybe the most demoralizing thing imaginable. Yo, thank you for the gifted sub. Really appreciate it. How many gifted subs?
Yo, thanks, Pochi.
Oh my god, thank you for the
They
6
They
gifties.
gifted because you were really, really bad at your Premier Challenges, and they felt bad for you.
No, I got second at like multiple, and we were talking about potentially no top cut happening. I was really excited by that because it really sucks to keep going to these events and playing like I don't know, just like I think that the fact that the payout has decreased from 30, so it used to be that winning a Premier Challenge was so much better than getting second that it really only mattered if you won. And now that is no longer the case. And I really like that. I like the changes to Premier Challenges. I am not looking forward to the people, again, between 70 and 80 going to League Cup after League Cup after League Cup with having to beat their previous BFL, knowing that, I got to win this because if I get second, I'm only going to get 8 points and I need 18 points to, jump me over this next person. That is going to be miserable for a certain subset of people, and I'm so sorry, but that is part of the way the circuit pans out now, right?
You get to experience the bad side of structure.
How does it feel having the better qualification system?
Oh, I haven't talked about it yet, but now's a good time, I guess. So the question is, would you prefer to play in this system where you have to probably go to several regionals and maybe 1 or 2 ICs to guarantee an invite? Or would you rather play maybe 2 or 3 online ladder tours followed by a second ladder tour and get an invite that way? But you have to do well in all of those.
I can tell you right now, I will probably not. Lorcy, thank you for the raid. I really appreciate it. Hope you had a good stream.
Yo, Lorcy with the raid.
Lorcy.
Let's go.
I got to
Welcome
imagine
in.
we are ranting about the same thing. We are going over the new circuit structure. I'm with Juedy, Rajan, Nails, and John. And maybe other people will come by too. I don't know. But yeah.
for when we talk about the fucking awful that is X+1, and I'll talk to you all later.
All right.
All right.
See ya.
Come back, man.
Take care.
Come back.
I literally, I will tell you, I told John this before. I probably will not be competing for a World's Invite next year, because of partially because of the new circuit. I was on the fence about it in the first place. If I was in Japan, I would absolutely be competing for a World's Invite, and I think the Japanese structure is actually more equitable than this one is right now. There's a lot of other flaws with it, right? It's gonna hurt local card shops and whatnot.
Yeah.
But
I think
I would personally, as a competitor, rather have the Japanese structure right now.
so. Let me put it this way. Here's my perspective, having played in both structures now and qualified through both, I guess technically. So the thing is that Japan's structure, it doesn't seem very. The word I think I want to use is consistent. You don't often see. Well, I mean, you do, but like you also aren't guaranteed to see, because like we see this year, a lot of high-level players, high-profile players, failed to make it through the main event, so they had to do other things. We saw this like Juedy. He went and got an invite, outside. I mean, good for him. And then like, of course, some players in the past obviously tried to circumvent this circuit because of the way it's not consistent. However, the fact that it's not consistent is due to the fact that it's all online, which means one thing, and that is that it's basically free, except for one event, which is you have to go in person. But at that point, you've already got an invite, so you're really just playing for shits and giggles, So when I want to compare the systems, it's like one values like the experience of going to an event, the experience of playing high-level players in that area, and then maybe winning some good prizes. The other one prioritizes not intruding on your personal life as much and saving your wallet. So depending on
Japan's
what your
system is
values are,
hyper efficient.
so depending on how you value your life, like your life balance, one system might be better for you, another one might be worse for you. For me, I kind of like both. Although at the moment, I think I definitely prefer the Japan system because I don't make as much money as I used to. And Adi's kind of like, he can't invest so much time. He can't do all this stuff. He doesn't have like the confidence to succeed
Yeah.
high at multiple events. I totally get it. And that's
yeah.
pretty much what I got to say about that.
No, I was already also cutting down on events for like just different reasons, but are we still?
You slept through them. I'm joking.
Yeah. I think I'm not worried about making worlds. I don't think I've ever been, but I will say they better be increasing money for these tournaments.
We'll get to that too.
That's a
That was
great-
also announced.
You know what?
Whoa.
That's a great point. I'm glad we came to the same conclusion. They better be raising prize money. You would think, right?
Yeah.
Right? They should make
Surely.
it so,
No.
so players like me, who
Surely.
maybe aren't chasing a World's Invite, but are still pretty good at Pokemon and can make prize money, and can get top 64 internets or top 32 regionals consistently, should have reason to go to events, right? Right? Anyways, let's look at the. Let's go ahead and look at the championship point payouts for regionals and internets. So I'm just going through the page. I don't think there's a better way to do it. But the BFL for regionals and internets, it looks like, is now combined into one, which means that now you have a total of 6 internets and regional level results, rather than in the past where you could go to every internet and have it count, as well as 6 regionals and have it count. And so that is going to be different. They also have increased the payouts for regionals and internets significantly. So now all of a sudden, if you do well at a regional, obviously winning gets you the invite. Second place gets you 325 points as compared to, I think it was 160 last year. So it is a pretty substantial increase, almost 2x increase that tapers off towards the bottom half, right? So you see the big jump between top 8 getting 280 points at a regional and top 16 only getting 160. Still more than last year.
That is a crazy drop off.
It is a crazy drop off, especially given the new way that Top Cut events, Top Cut is going to happen, where it is record-based Top Cut. We're going to have bigger Top Cuts, asymmetric Top Cuts. So now all of a sudden, you are playing super important matches in potentially a top 32, top 16 round of Top Cut.
It's gonna be very swingy in the the lower half of that bracket.
Your top 32 winning in, that's worth 25 points. Your top 16 winning in, it's worth 35 points. Your top 8 winning in, that's worth 120 points. And then you're playing for 20 points, 25 points, and 25 points. What even are those numbers? Is that not like, it's not a typo, but what are we doing here?
So for what it's worth,
It's whack for
what it's
sure.
worth, I think that yes, the difference between getting first at a regional and top 8 at a regional, like there is a lot of variance in every regional. There probably shouldn't have been such a big difference in those results. There is a lot of difference in prize money. You still have a big incentive to win those games, right? You're still playing $1,000 money match in top 8. So I think that that's reasonable in that, you know, people are already invested in winning those games for the prize money purposes. It's okay, and for the auto invite and whatnot. It's okay that the jump is not as much, but man, that top 16 to top 8 is so brutal. Like it is unfathomably brutal. And then of course we see the same thing happen at Internats where top 8 gets 600, top 4 gets 650, but top 16 only gets 400. And again, thankfully, there's no more bubbling in this case anymore. So you can't bubble out of top 8 in the same way that you could this year,
Unless you get 33rd.
Bro, these are Smash Bros ass payouts. Holy crap.
Oh no, bro.
Like literally top 8. Yippee! Anything else? Like go get
Everything
yourself.
else. Here's your consolation. Here's your
honestly,
participation prize, bro.
My,
Take your participation trophy and go to the next one. Yeah, just go next.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think my first reaction is I'm on Indeed right now, looking for jobs. I think that's important. If you are like with the price decrease and everything, that's crazy. I don't know, man. This is like kind of. I think I'm here for the prize talk. Like this is like the numbers are goofy. You know, TBCI's greatest scientists, championship point scientists, have come together to decide that they obviously value top 8 cuts now that everybody, like, no one can complain about bubbles. They said you can't complain about bubbles, so now prove that you're worth the points that you're worth. I think is like what that's saying.
Now,
fair.
The part that, again, I really don't mind the increased payouts for regionals, increased payout for Internats. What I really dislike is that they are combined in terms of best finish limit. That means that, again, if you get top 256 out of Internats and you already have a bunch of regional finishes, it might overwrite a regional finish, or vice versa, right? A mediocre Internats finish might be overwritten by a regional finish. On some sense, that might be a good thing because it means that if you go to enough events, you can get over a poor finish at an Internats. But really what I think it means is that you are heavily incentivized to go to all 3 Internats under this new system where you're going to get so much more. You can get so many more championship points for getting top 64 at an Internats, right? That is essentially a regional top cut. Or top 128 at an Internats is the equivalent to top 16 at a regional. You are so heavily, God forbid you get top 16 at one, right? Or top 8 at one. You are so heavily incentivized to go to Internats because a good finish at one of those basically sets up your entire season. Whereas you have to otherwise go to basically go to so many regionals to make up for that.
Like literally you could go to an Internats, go X3, take your 150. Is that right? Take your 150, and that's basically the same as top 16ing a regional, which is like, yeah, it's pretty good, you know? Like,
so I mean, Internet's worth is broken in the current in the last year system as well. Just the system was less cutthroat, so you could get by without attending all the Internets. And
but like,
yeah, it's just harder to do that now.
I really think that I would have been way more okay with this if the Internats BFL was 1, right? Because then it's everyone like, okay, you have to do well at 1 Internats. Yeah, NAIC is going to be very important. We already knew that. But now it just feels like if I can't go to LAIC, if I can't go to EUIC, NAIC is the last event of the year. I'm not going to know if I'm in contention for that top 75 or not until literally after that event, right? If I get top 64, top 32, it's going to have a huge swing. right? Now it just feels like, why even bother, right? And
I mean, you're gonna
that's really the
you're gonna
main
know
thing.
if you're in contention for it. You're just gonna you're the outcome is gonna be wildly swingy. But yeah, it just is harder to be in the conversation. But I
Right,
mean,
and
it's still
the contrast is if I lived in Latin America, right, and I went to LAIC and I got top 32, I'd be immediately set. I know that I'm pretty much locked, or I have to do okay for the rest of the season to be locked. Or if I do poorly and I bomb the internets, I know I'm pretty much out. Right, I can't say that anymore, but pretty much out, right? So and so the whereas now it's like, oh, NA, like if you want to go for a Worlds invite, it is so determinative at the end of the season, unless you go to every event, unless you go to every internets. Then all of a sudden, that's the only way that you can really have it locked up. And I hate that, especially with the way the travel awards work. I just hate that internets play such a big part. It is the biggest thing that stops people, I think, from really investing their time into the circuit, because it means that if you aren't willing to pay that, $1,000, $2,000 to fly to Brazil, to fly to London, you are at such a huge disadvantage competing, even if you can go to a bunch of events domestically and locally. Any
Yeah,
other takes
While
that
you
you
were
have
giving that
about
rant,
Go ahead.
I was reminded of the snowball forming circa 2017. I'm sure Nails can tell us more about that because I think he was basically a big part of it. I don't know.
I was on the snowball for 2017 and 2018. It was a good time.
Well,
Um,
it was a good time for you. I don't think it was a good time for everyone, but
no, I had a great time. I assure you. Um, yeah, the system has come a long ways since then, and you no longer have to. It's no longer just get a lead and keep it. You have to continually perform every quarter. I don't think the travel word system is really being overhauled.
yeah, it looks
It's
the
just
same like per international challenge, right?
yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. No, now that you guys are explaining this international thing, yeah, it's kind of fucked up.
So
I think, you go.
yeah, the one saving grace for this is I think the global challenges. Those the 120 points you can get from a top 32 at a global challenge is that's either a good regional finish or um, like attending an internets. And so you can if you stack a good performance or two, like a top 32 or two, you can like really get like a buffer and not need to perform as well. I think that's one of the few redeeming factors in this, though. Otherwise, I like yeah. If you attend the internets, you're going to have bigger margins in a system where just margins are hard to find, and it's generally going to be pretty cutthroat. So yeah, Brazil
That
is
reminds
not that
me.
bad.
That reminds me that somebody earlier asked, "How do you feel that they are pushing CTS BO1 a little more this year?" And the answer is, CTS BO1 is a good format. You just suck at the game, so get good at the game. Don't be babied by BO3 OTS. This post made by a Japanese player.
No, I mean, okay. I'll give my. We can talk about global challenge. I know Alex did his video on that. We can talk about that some other time, but just build for it. Like, the format ahead of time. We're all playing the same game. You know what's coming. The only time is when global challenges are the same weekend as regionals. That kind of sucks, but I really don't mind global challenges being a bigger part of the system. I think it's a good thing. I think we already kind of touched on that though.
Yeah, we did. I just
Okay.
No, Nash, don't give me that shit. I went 0-2 at a CTS BO1, the biggest one of the season. I'm still defending it. Obviously, it's a good format.
Okay. So, the VG event names have changed. I think we already kind of knew that, but just to give you a recap, midseason showdowns are now called League Cups. Premier challenges are now League Challenges. They also changed the way that TOs have to host events. They have to do it with established leagues, but I think we talked about that last week on Tub Takes, so I'm not going to go over that again. But Izzy had a really good explanation of that, so make sure to go check that out some other time, and how that might
check
impact
out Tub
your local
Takes.
game store. Yeah, it's on
CK49
YouTube.
on
Exclamation
YouTube.
mark YT in chat. Oh, that's not it. There we go. Yeah. Anyways, so with that, let's talk about pricing, because pricing also changed. And we got something new, which is that we now have more booster pack pricing for events.
Woo!
Normally-
The third box was the difference maker, dude. The third box was the difference maker.
No. This is a very, very good change, because we are going to have, right, if you get top 128 at an event, right, and there are about like 500, 600 players, you're getting half a box. If you get top 64, you are now getting a box of cards. That is valuable. That is like $100 worth of pricing, which is something, right? Getting top 32, which has no cash pricing, still has no cash pricing, spoilers, is now getting 72 packs, which is 2 boxes, which is like $250, right? If you sell it. That is not bad. That is something, at least, because let me tell you, I got top 32 at San Antonio, and it felt really bad having the same record as my friends who got top 16 and like a box of cards or whatever, and I got nothing. That shit sucks. So at least getting top 64, getting top 32, you're going to get something. Even top 128 and top 256 are going to get something at these bigger events. The lines for getting the pricing is going to suck. It's going to really suck. But at least it is something. So I am pretty happy with the increase in booster packs for pricing. And then, of course, that also extends to the top, where I think you get 3 boxes now for getting top 8 and above. And they are, once again, kind of standardizing the pricing. So it's less, the difference between top 8 and first is less than ever, where here you can see that the booster pack pricing is also identical for top 8 and first place.
Listen, all you have to do is hope that the current set has an ultra rare Charizard in it, and then you can just sit on it for like years, and then it will magically increase in value 10 years down the road. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to do, you know?
I can confirm I have some sealed boxes sitting in my closet right now.
Flashfire?
Don't
Any
remember.
Flashfire gamers? Okay. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Probably a different set.
But yeah, for real, like it is not hard to sell sealed product, especially later. eBay, TCG Player, whatever you want. TCG Player, please sponsor us. I don't know, like you can get like you can sell it to vendors at the event. You can find a friend who plays the TCG and just sell it to them later, right? Like there's a lot of ways to get rid of them. It's something, right? It's better than nothing. It is the cheapest way for them to increase pricing, as compared to the more expensive way of them increasing pricing, which is just not doing it. They're just not doing it. This is TCG.
It's
VGC is
definitely way better than before. Because you know what I got for 2014 top 4? I got 1 box and a 3DS, which I already had. I mean, I sold that for like $100, but you know,
so
definitely not really the equivalent to the current pricing.
The pricing increase that they had last year, where it went from like $250 for top 16 to $750, and then obviously pricing upgrades from there, was really nice. They have not changed it for this year, I don't think. So it's still $1,000 for top 8. It's still $2,000 for top 4. And the
they
downside,
actually nerfed it.
They did?
They nerfed the first and second place, so it was 6,000 and 4,000 for a regional, and now it's 5 and 3.
Okay. Refresh the page. They changed it to 6K and 4K. Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
Okay, they just used an old
did.
paste.
Oh wow, that's crazy. Were there any other changes?
They noticed people talking about it, and they were like, "Oh shit, we fucked up. We used the wrong paste."
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Okay.
I take it back.
Saved. Good system.
Let's go. Our complaining has already made changes to the system. Now we can make
I'm doing a very rapid scroll to see if anything else has changed.
But like I said, getting top 32 and getting nothing, getting top 64 at internets and getting nothing, bubbling out. I see the person who got top 32 at NANC in chat, bubbling out of the internet's points money is going to really suck. It is a huge gap. I would have really liked to have seen them, especially with how big these events are, especially since top 64 is still an accomplishment at these events, and especially now that the number of rounds has changed, we'll get to soon, meaning more people are going to bubble than ever. More people are going to bubble than ever, and it's going to suck because the prize money is still so high, but it's not evenly distributed. I really wish they had said, okay, top 32 gets $250 or $500 at regionals. Top 64 gets $750 at internet, something like that, just to even it out a little bit. Like I said, especially now that mid-bros like me have less of an incentive to go to events than ever, having more prize money, saying that, okay, at least a pretty good performance at a regional is going to get me my money back, would be enough of a reason for me to go to 3 or 4 regionals in a year as compared to 1 or 2. But we don't see
Right
that
now, you
happening.
have to. Right now, you have to spike one and have it cover your season, and that's just less consistent and feels worse when you whiff.
Exactly. And especially feels bad when you whiff when with the new system, more people are going to bubble than ever. It's going to be very frustrating that a good record at a regional can still miss prize money. But we'll get to that. I'm gonna get to that as soon as we get to the new structure of regionals that they did change as well. But any other
The
thoughts
actual
on prize money?
structure of the regional, yep.
I think it's solely that Worlds is only paying out top 16.
Wait, what? Really?
Yes.
Wait,
Also
where's
that.
Yeah.
It's a little lower, but
Oh, that's fucked.
Yeah. I say this is the guy who got 18th at Worlds last year and got no cash. Top 32 at an internets gets a payout. I caught Worlds and I didn't get any cash prizing for it, and I'm still salty about it. Like, come on, Pikachu,
Right.
what are we doing here?
like surely top 32 at Worlds is more impressive than top 32 at internets, right? Why does the prize money not reflect that?
So true, actually. Because if you think about it, the current structure of what this saying is that you have like each region altogether is regions is like how many? Where's the part of it? All together is like 200, 300 people ish. About. Wait, where's this?
I don't know. That sounds about right.
It'll be like
Asia.
it'll be about like the high 200s, I think, if you include Asia. Wait, Middle East gets no invites. That's actually really
Yes.
Inoshi's in a bad spot.
Yeah,
I
the Middle
missed
East
that.
kind of got
Anyway.
screwed over. Africa kind of got screwed over. You can't
Yeah,
even
it should
travel
be
to
it should
events
be
now
around
and
the
get your Worlds
it should be
invite.
around the 300 mark. And so like out of 300 players, only like 5% of them getting money is not a great look, I want to say. Yeah, not a great look if only 5% of your estimated player base at the biggest event of the year getting money. Probably not really good reflecting on that. But yeah, it should be top 32 at least, I feel like. And honestly, I want to say like if you're the top, even if you just date, well, there's no day 2 anymore. But let's say there was a day 2 at Worlds still. Day 2ing a Worlds, I think, is worth monetary pricing, in my opinion. But since they don't have a day 2 anymore,
They do.
I guess they got to change it. Well,
There's still a day 2.
Sort of.
oh, okay. Because they're doing the new system. Okay, we'll get to that. I mean, whatever.
If a South
I'm
African or
not
Middle
saying
Eastern player, so just to answer the question in chat, if a South African or Middle Eastern player won a regional, they would get a Worlds invite, from my understanding. But yeah, Inoshi's out there saying, yeah, I got to win a regional this year, or else I can't go to Worlds, which is kind of a shitty situation to be in as well.
Especially because
yes,
Inoshi's a known loser in regional finals.
It's tough. It's tough.
He's like got at least 3 finals losses, one at US Nats and a couple regional finals. It's just tough to be Inosh.
But yeah, so the reason that this in particular, this prize money, is so annoying to me is because we now have asymmetrical cuts. We knew that at Worlds, right? We saw, Nails lose in top 32 and not get anything. And literally, like, kind of like, you almost like bubble out, right? You bubble, if you have a good enough resistance, you will just lock yourself into top 16 without playing that bye round. And that's going to be the case at regionals this year as well. Not internets, thankfully. Thankfully, if you top cut internets, you are set. But at regionals, we are going to have people who have to play a single elim match for that top 16 slot. And that is going to absolutely suck. At least I would have liked to have seen them say everyone who makes top cut gets some amount of prize money. Like top cut, top 32 in cut or something like that gets $500 for a regional.
It's really fascinating that they kept the same like power of 2 pricing structure, but then they were like, okay, let's do you hate bubbles so much, let's just do elim matches and cut. Everyone can have cut, but you have to win the match to actually get the money. It's like, okay, that's
I mean,
a little
I do
weird.
think X2 cuts are still better, or X of whatever 8
It
seeded.
is
That
an
is an
improvement,
improvement,
but
and
it's a little mismatched, is what I'm saying. I'll have to
yeah, uh, it's still just tough for the guy who goes like, what is it, like 12-0 or 11-0 at the tournament, and then misses top 8. It sucks for that guy, but overall, it's just another way to get to results of crowning a winner. So, um, are we getting into this? Do I need to tag Rajan?
Let's see.
I suppose we should
We got-
tag Rajam pretty soon.
We're gonna get there
But he's
in a
in a
second.
meeting, right?
Give him a 15-minute warning. Because we have, I guess the last thing that we have before that is
Travel
the internet's
pricing.
travel prize updates. So this is the VG updates for 1st through 4th, for 5th through 8th, for 9th through 16th. And then of course we don't have top 32 because we are not TCG. So I think this did not change. No, I
It
think
did
UAT might have gotten more.
change, but no, U18 was always 5,000.
Yeah. All right.
Because they have to pay per
Um,
parent too.
Yeah.
this is the funny one.
No,
I
then
think.
the cash payouts didn't change. The change was top 16 now gets to register for the tournament consistently. They get to register like, I think it's 48 hours before everyone else. So they no longer have to sweat it out. 17th,
Let's go.
you're in the pack with the rest of us.
They finally heard the
honestly,
pleas of the top players complaining that they didn't get a spot.
amazing change, because I see all these top players. I see Eric Rios and whatnot complain that I couldn't get into internets. I have to like just sweat it out with to get into internets, and like, yeah, so does everyone else. Like, I don't know. I feel like everyone should have an even shot. But if they're gonna do it, at least you have to try to compete for the travel award, right? None of this like none of this meritocracy stuff. If you are competing for a travel award and you just barely whiff, congrats. You can still go to the internets. If you and you know ahead of time, right? You're gonna know exactly where you place months before the internets actually happens. So you have time to plan it out. But if you're really scared, you better grind it out. But otherwise, I'm sorry, you're stuck in the pack. It's a skill issue if you can't get in. I love this change. I think this is a fantastic change. I think this solves the problem that some of these top players had without like really meaningfully changing the way that with the way that internet signups works. I just really hope that internet signups, there are just now more slots at internets as they realize that these have grown. We saw it at NAIC where there were a lot of slots, and I don't think it capped until like a couple weeks before the event, so you had plenty of time to sign up. I mean, if there are small caps, it's gonna suck, but yeah, I didn't ever really think there was a huge problem, at least in North America. And this is a nice way to throw a bone to some of the top players who were complaining.
I think the complaints are silly, but yeah, sure. If you're spending a bunch of time and money and effort into trying to chase travel awards, sure, you can. Missing the tournament is probably not fair. Yeah, it's probably a good change. I think it's just really funny.
It means that I could do something like say I'm going to win the travel award to EUIC, grind book my flight really early, grind it out. Even if I whiff, even if I just barely whiff, that effort will not have gone wasted, because at least I will know that my flight to EUIC will be for a reason, right?
Yeah.
So I don't hate this. There needs to be like, yes, registration for internet sucks. Yes, there should be changes. This is not this. The solution was never let's invite top players first. That was a bad idea, and this is a small like concession to top players without making a meaningful change, which I'm okay with.
Man, I'm glad I don't
Yeah.
have to do that anymore. Holy shit.
All right.
It was
Registering is like its
somewhat
own little
stressful, but
tournament.
Yeah. And so now we can talk about the thing that Rajan really wanted to talk about, which is that there is an adjusted format for top cut. So
All
Notably,
right,
to
who's gonna
start-
ping? Who's gonna ping this guy?
So
Did we already
I'm gonna
ping him?
give,
I
I'm gonna
pinged
give an
him.
overview. I'm gonna give an overview of what it explains. But essentially, this is the same format as the World Championships that we saw earlier. This is but now for special events, for regionals, for internats, for worlds, TCG, and VGC. That means is that we now have fewer Swiss rounds. So at a normal event, we will have between 257 and 1024 players, one of these two bars right here. So you can see here, we're going to have either 10 or 11 total Swiss rounds. 8 of those will be in day 1. Sorry, this is mostly a North American perspective on this. I know some regions will not hit 256 players on a regular basis, and assuming that we don't also get a huge influx of players and hit top, more than that. But normally we're going to have 8 rounds of Swiss day 1 with all 6-2 or better players making it to day 2, and then either 2 or 3 rounds of Swiss in day 2. And then from there, we will have a top cut, which will be asymmetric, which means that you will see the record of the 8th place player, and then everyone with the same number of points, or so the same record as the 8th place player, will get into top cut with a maximum of 32 players. That maximum should not come into play unless we get a huge influx of players. There's some numbers where I guess it could come into play, but realistically, we're looking at most events having around, I think, a 16 to 20 player top cut is what I was looking at. Maybe a little bigger, but yeah. So we're going to see a top 32 single elim, just like we did when we were all complaining about it. This is okay. I know Raj is going to come back on and complain about it, but y'all remember when we had to play 10 rounds of Swiss and then cut to a top 32? This is the same thing. This is the same thing. We're doing the same thing all over again. We had so much progress. Why are we doing it again?
Except this time they just split the Swiss rounds into 2 days.
Yeah, except this time we don't.
Yeah, NAIC would be a top 29 after round 11. So that's just you're playing super important money matches for tons of championship points. The tournament is just shorter for everybody. Whether that's a good or a bad thing depends on your perspective. Day 1s probably were too long, so that part is good. But day 2s, I don't know why they're being chopped off as significantly as they are. And
because they need time to play more rounds of top cut. God forbid they increase Swiss by 1 round to reduce the number of rounds of top cut they would have to play. That would be a totally unreasonable way of doing it.
Yeah, so my take on this is especially for internationals, we have this day called Sunday where we can just have a bunch of top cut played, and then like have content on 3 days instead of 2 days. I don't know. This is not. Maybe I'm like speaking a foreign language or something, but personally, I think that like if I'm going to a tournament for like a weekend, like there might as well be tournament played on all of the weekend. I don't know. That's probably just weird though.
Juedy, you've been awfully quiet. What's your take?
Oh my god, I'm just like gathering a pros and cons list as you guys keep talking. I thought that this would be a good change, but you guys are making it sound like a bad change for regionals and stuff, and I'm like, yeah, I think like I love asymmetrical cut for like worlds, and
I don't think they're making it like a bad change. It's just like the positives and negatives of the change are just different compared to what we're used to, is I think what they're saying.
I will say, I think it's stupid that the pricing hasn't changed and we're still doing all this. That's what's getting me upset right now. That's where I'm at. I think that like what Nell said about getting 18th and missing out on Worlds pricing was freaking stupid, and they're gonna continue. My current verdict right now is Pokemon hates us and are fine with lower participation across the board if it means less Worlds invites.
I mean, this is always true because I mean, at the end of the day, TPCI and Play Pokemon is TCG first, A VGC side event.
No, I think they hate TCG
Go side
too.
event.
Like these changes hate TCG too.
No, no, no.
Like,
They hate TCG, but it's like an Asian parent. They love the child who does the most, and they hate the other guys. That's actually not true. It's actually reverse, isn't it? But whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like they obviously favor one child out of the couple of childs they have, and then like even after that, they still don't like necessarily show them affection. Does that make sense? Maybe that analogy fell flat. Maybe
I
not any
don't-
Asian people in the chat.
I don't really subscribe to this theory. I think Pokemon's got their goals and they're executing it. I disagree with the implementation for the tournament structure.
So
So all X2 cut is really good. Reducing the amount of res variance in the tournament is cool. Just don't go Swiss -1 or Swiss -2 or whatever they're doing.
This looks like Swiss minus like 4, bro.
It is Swiss -4 from the current format of day two Swiss.
This is like Swiss
where
minus
we've
4,
fif-
man.
it
We're
is
going a little
gen-
crazy with that.
it is
for what it's
genuinely
worth,
Swiss -4 for current NAIC.
I don't think that playing 15 rounds of Swiss was a good idea either. I think that was probably too much. Especially 6 rounds of
I agree with
Swiss
that
day
too.
2 plus top cut. That was a lot of Pokemon. Like that was genuinely
Yeah.
exhausting.
So
I don't
and also just with that many rounds, rematches were the norm in cut. Like there were more rematches than non-rematches in cut. That might be cap, but it's close enough to true. Like there just were a lot of rematches in cut. Like if you're at the top tables, you're gonna just be forced to queue into each other, and then you're gonna be forced to play again in cut. I know, for example, Michael Kelsch at the regional he won. Over the course of his 17 rounds of Pokemon, he went 5-3 against people that played in cut. And he played against all other 7 cut participants. One of them he played against twice. Like that is a bit too extreme, and I think it needed to be walked back. Just not they missed the mark and overshot it.
I think they pulled back a little too much. But and in terms of like logistics outside of the tournament and stuff, of course, most people I think are probably happy that they get a little more time to themselves and they don't just play Pokemon the whole day, 2 days. But I mean, I don't know. Personally, I feel like at 9 rounds in day 1, I still had plenty of time to do things at night, and I didn't feel like overwhelmed or overstimulated or anything. But then again, I'm like maybe not speaking for everyone. Obviously, some people definitely like get pooped tired, and then they have like no energy to do anything after the tournament.
I also think that 9 rounds was more of a factor for TCG because their rounds go longer, so they were stuck later.
There, yes. So,
yes, TCG definitely needed to have their day shortened. So, and the cut changes also might be a TCG change, just to shorten their days up. I think they probably shortened their days too much, but
I feel like,
I'm not.
because I feel like even at their last year's system, I feel like they didn't finish that long after VG did. I know they always did finish after VG, but I feel like, well, maybe it'll make it easier for them to travel, like organized travel, because I don't know the logistics of traveling for TCG in terms of like preparing for if I cut, I have to book a flight at so and so time or whatever. But maybe this makes it easier for them to do that, and I'm not sure because I'm not like a TCG player, obviously. Although I might be next year, because what else am I gonna do before next season starts? But yeah, overall, good change logistically, meh to bad change like in terms of actually structuring the tournament.
Yeah,
That's what I got.
I don't know.
I'm gonna pull up. This is Los Angeles Regionals. I pulled this one up because I did well in it, but full disclosure. But this is also approximately the size that we'd expect regionals to be at, 618 players, right? these are the standings after round 11, which is what we would have in under this new structure, right? And so you can see here, the 8th place record was 9-2, which means that all 9-2s would make it to top cut, which is 20 players. There would be a 20-player top cut at this event. If you made it one more round, it would just be there would be under 16 players, right? So you are reducing a round to not actually reduce the number of rounds of Pokemon played, which feels very silly to me. It means that players like Kian and players like Mons, who both made top cut, in fact, it was a winner in top 4, right? Would have played each other in the win-in for top 16, as compared to, you know, winning the regional and getting top 4 at the regional. You see Colin down here, who made cut, who would have whiffed cut altogether, at 21st. And it's just like, did we really like? Was this regional better off because we have a 20-player top cut? I don't think so, right? Like, I like the asymmetric cut, but I would literally, I think this entire thing would have been solved if they said, okay, at least for VG, if they said, yeah, we're gonna do one more round, right? Let the players play it out on the match, whatever you want to call it, and then see what happens. And put it in their hands, rather than just like do this massive top cut where I don't know, just like we've played through this. We have it is so it feels so bad to go 9-2, to go something like that, and then miss out or just get top 16, just get like minimal prizing, because of one bad luck, because of one bad matchup, whatever, because you play like you happen to play a really you have to play a really good player. And it's like, I don't want to play James Beck, you know, like I don't want to play like I don't want to play Joe. There's some.
So if you were going to get a hard Swiss pairing as well, it's also going to potentially ruin your run, but it's still just it feels different if it's in top cut.
More rounds gives you more chances to overcome bad Swiss pairings, and that's the main thing, is that it reduces your variance when there is so much variance otherwise. Where'd my chat go? Ah, there they are. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know. This is just this is also very frustrating, that I think a 20-player top cut is very silly. I don't think this is ever good for the game. We played through these massive top 32 cuts at San Diego, at Orlando. Some of the European events had them.
They were not fun.
We saw
they were
saw it
good.
at Worlds. It really sucks to have this high stakes a match on one, like just like when you could otherwise not do it, and then when you could just like otherwise have an extra Swiss round and kind of have it sort of the same thing, but also it feels like you're playing it on the. It feels like you have more chances to offset it. Also, I think that it is like, yeah, actually that's most of it. I just really hate the fact that you're playing this like that. Oh, it also means that resistance is actually kind of like more important now, right? Because okay, like you look at this, Mont would have bubbled out of a guaranteed top 16 on opponents, right? You get to play for it, which is nice, but like again, playing more rounds would have done it.
No, resistance is definitely less important in this system than it was, but it still matters a lot.
It also sucks for, and this is obviously less meaningful, but like if you look at after round 8, right? Yes, all the 6-2s are gonna make it. So how big of a day 2 are we gonna have? This regional would have had 86 players who made it to day 2, right? I guess that's not bad. That's pretty reasonable. I don't have a problem with that one. Yeah, okay. And then hopefully we have so that part I don't hate. Yeah, the top 128, you know, is going to be more resistance based than Evers, but I don't really care about that nearly as much. That's okay. I think this is
if
a reasonable
that's you,
size
just make sure you do well. You just play to win. If that's you, if you're in that mid-bro range, you just gotta pray to the bubble god.
NAIC would have had 130 players in day 2 at 6-2.
And they would play how many rounds? 3?
They would have played 3 rounds.
How big of a... I guess we don't know because it would have been a slightly different structure, but do you know how big a top cut NAIC would have had?
29. It would have had 29 players at 9-2 or better. And there would have
Yeah.
been 2 10-1 players that did not get a bye.
Also, just absolutely brutal.
Yeah, half of the 10-1s would have gotten a bye, and like 2 get a bye and 2 don't. And this year's NAIC played under the old system.
Right. That is the other thing that I think really bugged me about the top cut structure at Orlando, for example, was that I think I went 9-1 and I made top cut, and then I lost to the winner in top 16, right? And it's like, yeah, okay, that's gonna happen, but it's like you should get rewarded for going X1, and more rounds of Swiss does reward you. You play it out, right? And you lock yourself into top 8 a lot easier. And this is just like, sorry, you played a lot. Like, there were just too many people. So now you have to play another single elim game, potentially to just decide whether or not you get prize money at a regional after going 10-1, right? That sucks if we have a regional of this size.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that would be really annoying if I went 10-2 and my tournament was over and I missed prize money. It's like X2 was supposed to get to keep playing, and I only lost 2 sets. Just I lost them at the wrong time, and now I didn't win prize money. I
Straight
think,
up.
yeah,
I would rather.
that's possible. Yeah.
Yeah. Give me double elim.
Now
Day 2
you
is
know
just
how
double
double
elim tournament.
And now you know how double elim feels. Yeah, I was like, this is just double
Double
elim.
elim is so
You're just
bad.
reminding me of Japan Nats format. Like, this is just Japan
Double
Nats.
elimination is so much worse than Swiss. Swiss is like, as much as we're ripping on it, please don't let double elim come anywhere
Yeah.
near
What I
my
would
tournaments.
kill to play a Swiss tour under TPC, but they're not gonna do it. They're never gonna do it. So,
Double elim is an absolute joke format. It's worse than it's very slightly better than single elim. It's not quite worse, but it's in the same ballpark.
Yep. All right. Rajan has a meeting for a little bit, so I think we can. I don't know. I think we can kind of move on.
I think we can double back. I think we can double back to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the rest of it is smaller changes, but at-home competitions. They said there are more online competitions in 2025, which I am looking forward to. I think this is great. I think the GCs are really fun to stream. I think that they are a way for players to realize that they are very good at Pokemon without having to commit the money that it takes to go to events. I think that I would have loved for this when I was starting out to be that confidence booster, because this is how I got into it, was playing these battle stadium tournaments. And if you get top 32, all of a sudden you're like, oh, maybe I can't chase a Worlds invite. I should start going to events. So I really like more GCs. I know there are concerns about ghosting in GCs. I know there are concerns about cheating in GCs, whatever. Obviously, internet connection plays a part. Having them the same weekend as regionals is now diminished as in terms of importance. That used to be a big problem. It sucked to have to play a GC and a regional at the same time. Now, with the BFL of 3, but with more global challenges, that is less of a concern, which is really nice. So overall, love this change.
Yeah, no problem with this, actually. Like, it's just like, I mean, Japan already does this. It's the only thing we have, actually. So, I mean, more for you guys is great, but I kind of anticipate TPC will only use 3 of them. Like, I feel like they don't like giving so many slots. So even if you guys get more GCs, I feel like not all of those GCs will also double as a qual system for Japan, unless they like change the numbers so that it, like, makes more sense with multiple GCs. I'm not sure what they're gonna do. Obviously, that kind of news usually trickles out once the first GC comes around, which I think is usually January or February-ish. Yeah. So maybe you'll get more info then. Until then,
so I hope
look forward to it.
Is that they actually spread them out over the course of the year. It felt kind of silly that all the GCs were in Reg F when we had 3 different formats that we played over the course of the season.
Yeah. That is definitely true. That is definitely something whack.
So I would not be shocked to hear about a GC in November and a GC in January, and then the same 3 that we have for Japan Nationals as well.
Yeah, because like if you think about like my system, I played 2 formats. I only had to play, like, logistically, I only had to play 2 formats. I didn't have to play Reg D at all. I didn't have to play Reg E at all. Wait, yeah, I did. No, I didn't. No, I didn't. Okay. But I did have to play Reg F, and of course, Reg G was like the bonus round. I didn't actually technically have to play Reg G if I didn't want to. But yeah, if they spread it out a little more based on how the timing of the ladders format changes works, that might be more interesting for sure. But I'm not sure if TPC is looking for that. Because also TPC, if anyone remembers this, was definitely the one trying to push Reg F tournament for non-Japan regions at their nationals. Yes. Reg F on everything. You don't even play Reg G. Even if it's even if it was fucking May, they were like, yeah, you don't play Reg G. You just play Reg F. But
Yeah.
that stuff's so boring. Right? I mean, maybe it's better because then you only grind one format, but probably. Personally, I don't think it's better. I think it's better if we line it up like TPCI does, where you split the formats up. I mean, it already does that in game, so it would have been nice to see. And I'm sure if there is going to be a change like that, they will hopefully produce that change sooner rather than later, is what I have to say about that.
Yeah. I'm curious if Japan is going to be included in these additional global challenges. It honestly wouldn't surprise me if they said, we're just going to give out more slots, right? I really hope that they do. Because it is very silly to have a big part of the world basically not play a format. I always love to see how the metagame develops, watching Japan nationals and the teams that they come up with. And so, yeah, I think having more global challenges also makes it so TPC regions might have more of an incentive to play all year round, which I hope is the case.
Yeah, support your scene properly so that you don't become like TPC and play only online and know nothing of real events.
And then the
Outside of
last
grassroots.
the last thing that we can talk about before we kind of do a recap is that we do have some of the regionals and special events. So we have all of the majors that are happening up until presumably the end of December. And then we also have the internet schedule and locations. So I will say, again, I would really have liked it if they had published the entire regional schedule, because you are now saying that you have to commit to competing the entire year. And so it'd be real, again, like it was always kind of the case, but in the past I could sort of say, okay, if I'm feeling it, I can go to a bunch of events in March and I'll be okay. But now that is less the case. Now I really need to know, with fewer invites, how everyone else is doing, how I'm doing. Probably have to go to an internet. And so planning your year is more important than ever if you have things like PTO to deal with, stuff like that, right? So I don't know, just like anything that forces you to have a schedule in real life. And so it's really frustrating that they don't release the entire schedule. But we do have a few events. Again, primarily North American audience here. So I'm looking at the North American events. We see Baltimore in September, Louisville in October. We have Sacramento in November, and Canada, Toronto in December. So about one every month. I am curious if that is going to be the case continuing, is that we have one event per month. But it looks like that is roughly the case for each region as well.
So that is definitely a slower cadence of regionals than they've had in the past. I think they had 12 or 13 regionals this season. But they're crammed into a period there's a dead period from June to August. So those 12 regionals are 12 or 13. It might be 14. Anyways, those are crammed into, I think it was 13. They're crammed into 9 months or so. So you get one every like 3.5 weeks or so.
Just by the way, because people might be wondering, a special event is basically a regional that has no cash payout.
They have free entry as a rule, or usually? I think it's as a rule.
Free entry as a rule, yes.
I think it's as a rule.
Actually, that might not be true, because I feel like the LATAM events, you do have to pay for entry, so that's not true.
Yeah, I don't know.
I can't wait for the American players that go to Latin tournaments.
Listen,
that's actually
right.
That's actually gonna be a thing.
I did attend Puerto Rico
They've
special
been
event
doing it. They've been doing it
in 2023. And yeah, there was a $25 entry. So yeah.
But now, right? So in the past, it was, why would I go to a special event in Peru when I can go to a regional? But now it is there's fewer events, it looks like you said. There's only the way the schedule is planned out so far, it really does look like they are trying to standardize it. So there is one LATAM event, one North American event, and one EU event every single month. And it looks like they are trying to minimize overlap as well, although we do see that the Brazilian and German events are the same weekend, so that might not be entirely true. But so far, it looks like there's one event per region per month. Outside of Australia, sucks to suck. You guys are not getting any events, period. Have fun grinding locals. But so in that case, right, all of a sudden, I have a huge incentive to go to Peru because if I get a travel award, that impacts my entire season, right? All of a sudden, I can go to the internets. And then two, right, like I can potentially, if I think it's easier to get championship points, I generally think LATAM, it is easier to get those higher numbers because they have a lower number of people. That's the main reason why I think it's easier to get top 32, top 16 at a LATAM special event, more so than any sort of player quality difference. Right, but now all of a sudden I am incentivized to go to Peru and try to get top 16 of their regional because it is a special event, even without prize money, because it means that I can get that top 75 that much easier. And so it would not shock me to see at least Peru and Colombia. Argentina is a little more isolated, a little harder to get to from North America, but Colombia and Peru, there are not unreasonable flights from a decent part of the country, at least where I live, in Texas, Florida. It would not shock me to see New York players, for example, try to head down to South America to try to get some championship points. And also, God forbid you live in Mexico, right? Where, yeah, Central America. How do you plan your season when you don't have any events, man? I hate it.
It's tough. It's tough out there if you live in Mexico, honestly. I remember when they had a bunch of Mexico special events, and now they have none. Isn't that crazy?
No, they have none.
It's almost like
Yeah.
the Northeast region now. I think
So-
Northeast also got kind of screwed this quarter or this half year, whatever.
No. Baltimore is definitely a Northeast tournament, just like Pittsburgh.
Okay.
No,
But
uh,
again, now that you mention it, there are 3 Northeastern or East Coast tournaments and 1 West Coast tournament in this first 4 months, right? So again,
that is probably going to balance out. Yeah.
it's going to balance out. But again, I am looking at this as I need to be top 75 to get a Worlds invite. If I live on the East Coast and my first 3 events are very accessible, 3 of the first 4 events, I'm probably going to those first 4 events just to get an idea of what my season is going to look like. If I'm on the West Coast,
What's our
I have
first
no
4
idea what my
events?
season is going to look like. The first 4 events in North America are Baltimore in September, Louisville in October, Sacramento in November, and Toronto in December. And I can tell you that first
Oh, yeah,
Toronto in
that's-
December, really? Oh my God. Why would I'm probably going to none of these events because these are like it's not
All
super
fun.
convenient. Yeah. And so like if I can't
All
go
right.
to any of these events, how do I possibly think about competing for a Worlds invite? It's just like unless I go to internets. We have to.
All right, this just in. Apparently, Baltimore is on the opening day for the Ravens, so better book those tickets if you know you're going to.
Guys, book around the NFL. We've learned this
Let's
so many
book around
times.
the NFL.
Come on, you guys. Pittsburgh was also during a Steelers game.
I love that for you guys.
Well, I mean, like, truthfully, it's always gonna be the week of like that's football season.
Something's
So like,
gonna happen,
you
right?
know, it's a 50-50 shot of whether the team has a home game or an away game. And I guess the NFL is not. The NFL schedule comes out like in March or I think it was April of like before the upcoming season. So I guess Pokemon probably has their venues booked already. But like the alternative is just don't book an NFL city in the fall. Like just have Louisville in the fall or whatever. Like college football is also a problem, but it's just tough.
It's okay. No one's going to watch a Louisville Cardinals game anyways.
Like genuinely, it is a consideration, or like just some college football teams just don't draw as big of crowds, or the cities are bigger. Like you can have Los Angeles be on a fall Saturday, and you're not going to care about UCLA and USC both having a home game because you can just be in a different part of the city. Like, I'm pretty sure that's valid.
Hey Siri.
The city is big enough, but yeah.
Hey Siri, he's Hey Siri.
Shh, don't.
Okay.
I
And
got
then,
it.
so moving on from the regionals, we also have the internets. This is not super surprising. We knew internets would be in New Orleans again, and they did stick to the same locations of the United Kingdom and Brazil. So Sao Paulo and London. And
Isn't
we do have
Sao
different
Paulo
dates.
like really far?
It's in
From
Brazil.
what?
I don't know.
It's in southern Brazil, like, but it's
Okay. I remember like someone complaining about the like one of the Brazilian tournaments being like easier to get to from like Europe or something. I don't know if that was Sao Paulo or not.
no, that was Curitiba, I think,
Oh, okay.
or
Yeah.
whatever it's called.
Yep.
Yeah,
It was
Curitiba.
Curitiba. So it looks like we are now going to get fewer special events that are like in the middle of nowhere. I do think that they're trying to, again, standardize it a little bit is what it looks like. I hope. But yeah, moving on to internets. So I am disappointed in this. I'm glad that they at least told us what they were, but I really wanted it to be somewhere cool, man. I don't want to go to London again, man. Come on. New Orleans is a cool city, but this is like the fourth straight time it's in London or something like that, and it's just like it also, like, again, people turn these trips into vacations. You should know that internets are vacations for foreign players, and putting it in the same place over and over again will reduce the number of people who want to go to it for the third time, for the second time. We had Worlds in London. I've studied abroad in London as an undergrad. I know London pretty well. I don't really want to go back there. It's a cool city to go once, but the third time, it doesn't hit the same, you know? And so I'm just a little disappointed. I'm sure that, Nails feels the same way about Sao Paulo, but I'll let him speak for himself.
I'm a London hater. Just city doesn't do anything for me. Just
I wasn't about to start drama, but if Nail starts the drama, I can chip in.
like that's just a personal taste thing. I love Berlin. Would go back to Berlin in a heartbeat. I'm not dying to go to London. Just it's been there so many times, and uh, I just didn't enjoy it. I've been to Sao Paulo 4 times now, and honestly, the fourth trip this last time was the best one, because I figured out how to actually enjoy myself in Brazil and like what the play was. The play is to go to like just nice places, nice hotels, nice restaurants, because the prices are just cheaper, and you just the quality of the top end stuff is really high. It's just a lot more attainable or affordable than it is uh, in the US or wherever else wherever else first world countries or first world viewers are from. Uh, first world is a problematic phrase, but regardless,
Yeah,
people know what I mean.
it's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay. The point has been received. But guys,
yeah.
when are they gonna have an international challenge in Japan? What do you think? What do you think, guys?
A good question. When is TPCI gonna have a
Any
tournament
sort
in
of
Japan?
jurisdiction in Japan? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Bro, give me
What I
the
wouldn't give.
best of one closed team sheet single elim internationals, please. I need it.
Um,
One time, guys. One time.
I mean,
um,
like real talk, I am a little bit jealous that you got to play in Japan Nats, because that is a tournament that I
It
would
is.
like to eventually play in, but it seems
It is.
difficult. Like, yeah.
Well, this is not the topic for this stream at all. Like, maybe I'll talk about it again later. But I will say, I feel like the event itself was very well run. It was in the same venue as Worlds last year. So if you were at Worlds, it had a very similar vibe. And honestly, I enjoyed my free time because, like I said, I busted out. So like I was done after round 2, so I had a whole lot of free time to kill, looking around the place and doing other things. I had the chance to play side events too, and I never did that. And the stream was all nice and all that stuff. I'm sure next year's will also be a banger of an event. So if
Yeah.
if TCI could have events in Japan, they would pop off for sure. But alas, they don't have jurisdiction here.
Yeah, I don't know. I agree with Audie right now. They need to have our event schedule out. Like I am not I would like to plan out my season as like it's expensive. That's really it. I think we've covered so much. I'm gonna go on like a study date now. But yeah, I also put all my thoughts on like Twitter while we were yapping. And like I feel like that like covered most things pretty well. I still like, yeah, I'm above the opinion that Pokemon hates us. And they really made it clear they want worlds to be lower. I don't think introducing a hard top 75 is the way to do it. They should have just made a higher CP bar. But we're here. I feel like numbers are gonna go down across the board, and I think that they don't really care. I think that's like what they want. So like that's where I'm at. We're gonna get those less than 100. What's up?
I don't think they want people to stop showing up to events. They definitely want people to go to events, but there's a lot of factors I think at play.
Yeah.
Sorry, you finish your recap, I guess.
No, yeah. I joke when I say fuck TVCI hates us. They obviously still want us to go to events, but they've definitely made it clear that these big worlds is not what they want.
Yeah, they don't want a big world.
That's really where I'm at right now. I think that's like obviously all the changes are like real, but like every change does not matter as much as top 75 worlds invite, and I think that like the intentions of that was very clear. Also, the reason why the 3 ICs are definitely in that BFL is like slight nerf, but they still want everybody to go to the internet. So those are the TPCI run events, right? But like, yeah. So I'm not a doomer. I just like I think like things will be fine in the long term, but it does suck.
Yeah.
But also maybe bigger things are coming. Who knows? But yeah, you go. Oh.
So I think a couple years ago they hired someone to kind of change, or I think they hired a new person to take over play Pokemon, and so I think this is sort of them putting their fingers, changing it the way that they kind of see it best fit. And I think hopefully we're gonna see them continue on, making changes as they get feedback and as we see how we see these events go, right? But yeah, and then we actually see. So I'm seeing LATAM is run by Copag unless they've officially run out of the Mexico City office, which is the LAIC. And yeah, I was also hearing that we might see Mexico City events come back, but it doesn't seem like it, at least not yet. But I really hope that also starts to happen. That would be a lot more accessible for Central American players and for me personally living in Texas. But that is everything. Those are all the changes. I think Rajan will join and yell about his thoughts real soon. So I think that
he
kind of like, what do you say?
Oh, he said 12:45, and I don't think we have 11 minutes left in this episode.
I think might be a little stretchy if we do that.
All right.
Yeah. All right.
Wait,
Jody,
guys.
thanks
Thank
for tuning
you for
in.
having me.
Jody is going out.
So long, Jody.
Sure, if you want to hear more of Jody's thoughts, I'm sure he's going to stream at some point and yell about it as well.
Yes, sir.
The solo Jody yelling. Hey, go check him out if you want to see that content.
So yeah, I guess to kind of recap.
Questions from chat?
Oh yeah, fire off your questions now.
Good question.
We'll try to get to them. But to
There
give you
were a lot of questions throughout the stream that we just we were cruising and
slide. Yep.
did not have a chance to pay attention to chat. So yeah, if you have any questions you want to get in at the end that we didn't hit on during the episode, feel free to resend it. We were
So
staring at a web page instead of chat.
my
Um,
top 75 does or does not include auto invites. We don't know. We are assuming that it does not include those.
The key sentence to pay attention on that one is where is it? It's up here somewhere. Oh my god, what's my computer doing? It says invites
Not count.
earned through this method will not count against the total invitation slots for that player's rating zone. Now, I don't know why they use the word against. I feel like that is the wrong word to use here. But assumedly that means that they get taken out of those rankings. But it doesn't affect travel award rankings. Could be wrong. Whoa, someone's typing up a storm.
Hello, Alex Underhill.
Whoa.
Hey, Alex, you get to save your thoughts for the actual tub takes because we are kind of wrapping up. But
Or
Alex hasn't even spoken a word yet, so my assumption is his mic is not connected.
fair enough. But yeah, like
He's
Shane
just
said,
in.
it is a little ambiguous whether or not they will be taken out. But we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. I'm not sure. It would be kind of silly for them not to be taken out because if you get top 4 in international, you should be pretty set as far as this with this new championship point structure goes.
Thoughts on them giving 0 invites to Middle East, South Africa? Yeah, that's really shitty actually, because they assumedly don't have any special events or regionals either. So it's like literally 0 way for them to qualify unless they fly to a regional or special event and win.
and that is what they've done
yeah.
in the past. But also they just have the online tours. Like
They do have that.
if there's a cracked player from Israel, for example, who has, for example, top 8 worlds and masters before and made day 2 through day 1 last year and is named Anush Shakar. Like
One
he
man.
just doesn't. A hypothetical man named Anush. How is he going to make worlds? He literally just has to win a regional. And there should be just a couple of slots for the rest of the world. Like there's also no Russian circuit. There used to be way back when, and that's like getting into geopolitics. So I'm not gonna lean too heavy on that, but it just sucks for those players as well. But yeah, the rest of the world should have like a few invite slots.
Are these changes better for the top players? I think the top top are not particularly affected.
The
If they
top
were
players, meh.
like yeah.
It,
Maybe
there's
it's
not much of a change.
overall net positive because they get more time to do things outside of playing the game at an event. That's maybe like a very small net positive. I don't know.
I think that in general, more rounds lets top players distinguish themselves. And
Sure.
the single elim nature of these massive top cuts is going to make it so there's more variance, and make it harder for top players to do consistently well. And then, because of the way that these points are kind of skewed towards like, you really, really have to get top 8, we're going to see some top players be a little frustrated. And something is some top players are going to win regionals. Are they going to be done, right? We see that every year now. That's not going to change. But I think that now with the amount of uncertainty between having to get top 75, maybe top players are going to have to go to more events at the end of the year if they haven't had a super impressive season. And then the ones who do have impressive seasons are going to be set anyways, just like. So by and large, top players, I think, are not going to have a huge impact. Some of them will be a little more stressed out, but probably still make it. It's players that are the players who are, the 30th to the 150th best player in North America are going to be really sweating it out. And that's kind of where, my range, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that is a good shout. Just the top players are going to be annoyed by the Swiss changes. They just want to like if you're sitting at 13-1 in Swiss in the old system, you don't want to be forced to play a top 16 match. Like that's just tough.
Howdy, you're easily top 27. Don't sell yourself short.
No, objectively speaking, I am 30th. Okay, I think I'm the 30th best player in North America.
I
All I'm gonna say is that this year we have one of the strongest top 75s we've ever seen.
yeah, so true, so true, so true, so true. I have not read any of the changes, so I don't have any thoughts to provide. I'm gonna have to go read up, but
Yep.
it
Or
sounds
watch
like
the
they did a
episode back.
lot.
They did a
True.
lot.
Watch the
And
VOD.
if you missed the show, you can always watch
Like
it. I'm gonna try
Alex.
to upload it on YouTube today. So if you missed it, you want to hear our thoughts,
Whoa.
go subscribe to my YouTube. I will try to upload this, and then Alex, like he said, has not seen any of these, so we will have a chance to talk about it next week on Tub Takes. A lot more. Also, just on our regular streams, I guess Alex is gonna probably stream and talk about it. But
I
you wanna hear it in
probably
a more structured
won't go
way.
live today, but yeah.
If you want to hear about it in a more
There
structured
was
way,
a-
we will also
there's a
talk about these
little-
changes on Tub Takes. Maybe talk to people's reactions on Tub Takes. We'll see. We'll get a different cast of people to hear their thoughts.
Yeah. I won't be there because it'll be my whatever. There was a little mini discussion about how does China play into this. China is this year they did not get any VG invites, I think, and also China is under TPC, so this system is irrelevant to them unless they have people from China study abroad in a TPCI region. Then it does matter to those people, but it doesn't matter to China the region. And I think as far as TCG goes, of course, they're also under TPC, so their TCG system doesn't really apply to this either. I think that's pretty much all. I don't have much information about it other than I think there was some TCG invites. I am not knowledgeable how many there were. All I know is that I think their TCG scene is scuffed because their release schedule is fucked up or something. I'm not sure. So don't quote me on any of that, but I think that's about the extent of my knowledge on the Chinese scene of things. All right.
And so with that, I did pull up Simon's post because the rumors that where this was gonna happen had been starting to float out from last week. But yeah, there's some like horror stories about what the system can involve. Again, we talked pretty extensively about these at the beginning of the stream when we found out there were 75 invites. So I'm gonna let you guys kind of rewatch it if you want to see that. But also, if you want to check out someone else who is talking about it, our boy Michael Derbesti, World's runner-up, is also going to be talking about the circuit structure. So I'm going to send you guys over to him. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Any final words, John, Nails?
Oh no, we have to do calc is right. What's the world's bar gonna be?
Uh-oh. Oh shit, that's true. That's true.
That's
Calc
that's
is
a good one.
right.
We'll do
What's
that.
the world's bar? Okay.
So in NA last year, Nails got the cutoff at 623 championship points. What do you think? Keep in mind, regionals get more points, internets give more points, locals give less points. There are more GCs or more GC points available. What do you think the bar is going to be?
Okay, so I'm just gonna talk through it. It's not actual calc is right. So let's say sorry, I'm scrolling. Like challenges and cups. Sweating those reasonably hard. There's a cap of 260. Let's say the 75th is gonna have like 200 or so from locals. From global challenges, let's say they get one top 32 and top 64 and top 128. That's 260. So we're at like 460 or whatever off of locals and global
Those
challenges.
are some pretty high numbers on the global challenge, buddy. But yeah, keep going.
There's more than 3 of them this year, so it's more doable.
Yeah. Okay. So we can.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah. No. You can. Yeah. Let's walk it down. Let's say that you get 400 points, which is 2 top 64s and a top 128. That's probably a lot more reasonable. So yeah, we're at 400 points. Regionals, we're gonna cap the BFL, but we're capping it with 6. No, we're gonna get like 4 top 64s, a top 16, and an internet's top 64. So that's 400 points from the top 64s. So we're at 800, 960 from the regional top 16, and up to about 1200 from an internet's top 64. None of those finishes were terribly exceptional, and we hit 1250.
Yeah.
1250.
So I
Yeah.
think 1250 is like a low ball for championship points. 1300 or 1400 could get up there.
Are we talking about
Um,
the 75th?
For 75th,
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we're
I
doing
think
calculus
I
right,
think
and then we'll double back to what your takes are.
I do
Yeah,
not
or-
think it's going to be that high, but I have not looked at the bars for any of the things.
the points are very inflated.
They're very inflated, yes.
I'm calling 1350 is my guess.
Is a world
For-
invite?
I
the-
think
I think that's high.
That's
I think
the
that-
world's
I think-
invite bar.
it's pretty.
I
I think that's a pretty high bar that Nails just set. I feel like the bar is a lot lower
Points
than
you
that.
Get for winning a regional.
350.
350.
Yeah, they increased
You
it.
know, my
It might be high.
my claim for the 75th best player was they were gonna cut 0 tournaments, but they were gonna fill out their BFL with reasonable finishes.
All right, so
I
here's
like-
my take. Is that I'm just gonna say average player, or no, not average player, but like a player who goes to one internets and then fills the rest of their. Well, okay, wait. Is that exactly what Nails is saying? I don't even remember.
The
I was
average
like half
player-
paying attention. I was like half paying attention, and then I fell off in the middle. Sorry.
Give me a number. I want the number.
Yeah, I'm gonna go a little less scientifically based and analytically based. I'm gonna say the number is more like 1050.
Yeah, it's not.
That's
1350,
super low.
that's 1350.
No, the points just got super inflated. They're Mickey points now. You get like
They're Mickey
1.5 to 1.6 times more points than you got in the old system. They are
Well,
just
let's say this.
they are inflated.
I was like 30th in NA this year, right? And I'm at about 800 and change.
Yeah.
So,
31st.
I
I was 30th.
Okay, my bad. Whatever. I'm sorry. My fault, Adi. You couldn't even win those PCs in 2017. Shut the fuck up. But
That's true.
so Swiss +1 sucks.
Yes. Tell us more.
Have your rant.
Swiss +1 sucks because it incredibly devalues what Swiss is in the point of the tournament. It's the same reason why I don't believe in any of the top cuts Adi's had before his most recent one. I don't think they're real. Top
Same.
32 cut is not real. It is too much. It takes what you had for the entire tournament and says, what if none of this matters? So when we did, admittedly, 10 rounds of Swiss into top 32 cut raw also suck shit. That was not good either. But this is the same fucking thing. It's the exact same thing. It's just one extra round of Swiss for the top 32 cut to be half a top 32 cut. If you hypothetically have a 700-person tournament for 11 rounds of Swiss, then the numbers for 7 rounds of Swiss, or 11 rounds of Swiss for a 700-person regional, which is like within the realm of what we were doing this year, you get 0.311 3.8 10-1s, and 18.8 9-2s. So the way X Swiss +1 will work for the 700-person tournament, 11 rounds of Swiss, is you have a 22-person top cut. What is a 22-person top cut? It's a bullshit top 32 top cut, right? So then how do you make that math work out? It's like 5 people or whatever, right? Like of that 22, math is going to be hard for me right now. So like we need to break into top 16. So you take
Yes.
So,
It would be 6. There would be 6 top 32 matches with a 22-person top cut.
So it's just like a Mickey ass bullshit like top 32 thing that forces you into a top 16 cut raw. And then top 16 cut, like I get it. It doesn't seem like the smallest thing, but introducing rounds of cut is the most variable thing you can do for actually winning the tournament. So then it ends up being one of those things like, I don't care if the X2 player who's at the bottom of the res has to play an extra round because they were supposed to win more during Swiss. That's their fault. But,
Yep.
but it's still
for the
X
players who are performing
but
the
it's
best and have
but
more of a claim on winning the tournament. Yeah.
but that's still all the X2s are doing that. Like there's only 4 people who aren't X2, so it's still like a resistance thing to give people an extra round, which seems to like defeat the purpose a little bit. But more importantly, it makes the people that did well during the tournament and during Swiss who were consistently playing the X1s and better, like have to play a top 16 single elimination round as opposed to the protection of Swiss, which would have been if they lost but were doing really well, their res probably keeps them up, right? Like, but if you have Swiss +2, which is way better, then the 700 person tournament with 12 rounds of Swiss has 0.2 exos, 2.1 11 ones, and 11.3 10 twos. So instead of it being a 22 person tournament, it's a 14 person tournament. And that ends up being the top placements cut straight in the top 8. And then it's just a top 8 cut for everyone who was like X2. So it just like mathematically reduces the, like, it doesn't punish you for doing well and then doing poorly in a single extra round of cut, while also accomplishing the same fucking goal, which is not having people bubble top cut based off of resistance, while also accomplishing the same thing, which is the tournament lasts the exact same amount of time because it's Swiss plus, it's an extra round of Swiss versus a one less round of top cut. And the tournament is much better for the players.
What if I told you everything you said is literally what Audie said?
Well, I don't care if Adi said it because he just copies my shit at all times. Like Adi is just like Adi's like me, but annoying. So
Yeah,
his
yeah.
name does start. His name does start with A. That's a true fact.
But anyway,
Rajan, but annoying.
I'm sorry if you said all the same shit.
Wait, I'm
but
just
Swiss
like Rajan?
+1 sucks ass. It is.
Yeah, no, Adi, I don't get it.
And maybe I'm just like, maybe I'm saying all this and it turns out that it's awesome, blah, 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 blah. But like, just do better in Swiss. It's not that hard. Like, we don't need to.
You hit the nail on the head with, we just need to have one more round of Swiss. And then the top 14 cut is fine. Top 20 cut is stupid. Especially with the way that the prize money works, where you are playing a money match, where you're playing like this huge championship point payout match. I just don't, if they wanted to do this, I get it. I get that TCG needed smaller days, fewer Swiss rounds. But we're different games. Just add one more Swiss round and all of this gets resolved. And I'm just so annoyed they didn't do that.
So much better. Swiss +2 is frankly phenomenal. I honestly think math-wise that ends up, like, maybe there's edge cases. I haven't done the math like that excessively. So I don't know if there's like some edge cases where like some nonsense thing happens. But I don't think there is. Like, it's always going to be X2. There's not really an amount of Swiss. You can't really have a player amount at +2 that makes it so that like we feasibly fuck it up. Like, it's gonna be fine.
Right. I completely agree. But so I think on that note, yeah, I think we've covered this, and I think we've kind of covered it a couple times now.
We've tried it in now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna, you know what? So speaking of being repetitive. Now I'm actually going to send you over to Michael Derbesti, who's going to repeat all of our takes verbatim because he has all the best takes. So
true.
Thank you all for tuning in. Look out for top takes next week. And next week, again, this will be up on YouTube if you missed anything. And then next week, hopefully, we can cover this with some takes and some whatnot with Alex and myself on Tub Takes next week. So look forward to that. And yeah, I'm gonna send you over to Michael.
Yeah, have a good night, everyone. I'm going to bed.
So horrendous.
Peace.
See ya.